Hi, everyone. I am in the middle of such an exciting day for those of you that are in the Happy Hustle Hive. You will probably know that our summer festival has started today, and it's been brilliant so far. We had a little technical glitch right at the beginning, but Hazel's art class was so good. Hazel, that was just so good. I've got my painting beside me, and it was just so therapeutic. Like, I totally get art therapy because, well, I don't totally get it. Get the gist of it. Because, I just really, really enjoyed it. Hello, Cassie. I will be seeing you online on StreamYard in an hour and a bit. Hi, Marianne. So today I wanted to talk to you about business karma. And hi, Mariam. And so I want to talk to you about an experience that I've had in a group that I'm in. So this is not something that's happened to me, but it's something that I observed over the weekend. And I want to just talk to you about it because it's potential. There's a potential it might happen to you. Hi, Tracy. And also there's the potential you could get caught up in something like this. So I just wanted to kind of explain what happens. And then I want you to just think about how you show up and what impact that has on your side hustle. So I have a mentor who is Canadian, and he has a large, he's got a large kind of international audience. And over the weekend, he had a virtual summit. So on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, it would normally have been a kind of a live event, but obviously due to COVID, it wasn't able to be this year. So there were 3 days of live events that he was heading up, and he brought in special guests and stuff, and it was absolutely brilliant. And it was provided for free. So it wasn't something that they sold tickets to. It was basically a bonus for being within his sort of mentorship, which was great. And it was a very generous thing to do because there was obviously a lot of work that went into pulling this together. And I really appreciated it. However, because he was Canadian, the timings were like way out for me. So it started at 11 EST, which worked out 1, 2, 3, I think it's 4 o'clock here. And then it went on quite late, and it was all live events. And the whole point of it was to be live events, but I wasn't able to attend all of it. But that was fine. This was a free thing, right? This was a free thing, and there was loads of value in it. But what he decided to do was to say to people, there is no replay. So he wanted to encourage people to show up live, because if you've got a service-based side hustle, you will know that when people show up live to something, the energy is completely different than if they watch it on replay. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with watching things on replay, and I do it all the time myself, but that was the decision that he had made, and I understood his logic. Anyway, the fact that there were no replays was just incredibly controversial within the community that I'm in. So people were saying, well, this is ridiculous. This is obviously just perfect for people that are in America and Canada, but it really doesn't work for people in Australia. And, what about the people in the UK and blah, 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 blah. And there was someone posted a kind of a concern about the timings and the fact that there was no replays. And then this post kind of grew a bit apace, and people were jumping on to it going, yeah, and I've got children, and he's not taking this into account. He's obviously not thought this through. And it started to just get a bit like horrible. And the context, the reminder was he was delivering that for free. Like, there was no charge for anybody, and you were able to go, but you just had to make the time or sacrifice the time. So on this all kind of kicked off on the Friday. On the Saturday, he tried to address it, and you could, like, this guy is just so lovely and so heart-centered. And what he decided to do next tells you a lot about him. So he said, I've been reading the posts and I feel really upset. And he said, I feel really upset because I was just trying to add some value here and just trying to do a good thing. And again, I think there's a challenge, isn't there, when something is free, that people don't necessarily value it. You know, if he had sold tickets to that conference or summit, which he could have, because like there was incredibly packed full of value, and people had flown to Canada, like they would have just gone with the timings and whatever. But anyway, so he said, I tell you what I'm going to do is I am going to make the replays available for people who just are really struggling to make it. But what I'm going to ask you to do is buy a book. So there's a book that he had, that his wife wrote, actually, and it's all about charity, right? So it's all about kind of linking your business to charity. And he said, I tell you what, if you buy, I can't remember, a certain number of copies of my wife's book, I will give you the replays, but I will donate all of that money to the charity. So how about that? So you're showing up. I'm still encouraging you to show up, because he's like, and he knows, you know, he's way more experienced in business than I am. And his thoughts on it were, when you just say to people, listen, you can catch it any time, or, you know, you can just get the replays, the odds of the people for spending the time and making the time to watch those, particularly when it was like a 3-day summit, so there was a lot of hours to be invested in it, are pretty low. And he was so keen for people to get the value from it, because he really does deliver great value. He's like, you know, the best thing for you to do here is to show up. So I don't want to make it easy for you to go, oh, I'll get round to watching it at some point, because that's the sort of stuff that doesn't happen. Anyway, so we came up with this great compromise. Buy some copies of this book for charity. I will give the money to charity. I will send you the copies of the book, and you can give them out to friends and family or whatever. And I will give you the replays. So I thought, well, good on him. He's listened carefully. He's thought about how to achieve the same objective, but he's responding to the people that, you know, we're starting to get very angry about this. Anyway, so I thought, well, that's great. Well done. That's been resolved. The next day, someone puts, I've just gone to buy those books, and the cost of shipping to get it to Australia is ridiculous. I cannot believe, once again, he hasn't thought about anybody outside of his own country, and this is ridiculous, and blah, blah, blah. And again, loads of people jumped on it going, yes, I'm not paying that. There's absolutely no chance I'm going to pay that postage for it. And, you know, the whole point was, even though this is free, he did say, you know, he was going to try and make it accessible to people all around the world. Anyway, another horrible thread of people jumping on to this poor guy who's trying his best to give something to really kind of help the community. And then later that night, he saw the thread and he responded to it. And he was very graceful the way he responded, but he just basically said, look, you know, you've got a choice here how you show up in business. And people that go, see that free thing, well, I'm really angry about that, and if it's not done in a different way that suits me, I'll not be doing it. He's like, I can't remember how he worded it, but basically he's going, well, you aren't my people. Like, I don't want to work with people like that. And just think carefully, and all of these people had their own businesses, because this was a summit for people that were in a particular type of business, actually. And they all had their own businesses, but they were behaving like that when they got the context, when they understood what he was doing. So it wasn't people that had never come across a business before in their life and didn't really understand the work or anything that went into that. Anyway, so he came up with another alternative yesterday, because it finished yesterday. And he said, okay, I'm going to send you all a book for nothing. Like, you don't have to pay the postage, you don't have to pay for it. I'm just going to send everybody a book that joins within his community. And I'm going to make all the replays available for nothing. And I could just tell he was beaten. And if you've got a service-based side hustle, you may already understand, or you will come to understand, that when you are delivering something like a summit or a challenge or a boot camp or a webinar, or any sort of live thing that's got a bit of kind of jeopardy to it, basically, where you invested a lot of time and you're planning it, and you just really want it to have impact. You really want people to be able to go away and go, wow, I've been able to take something away from that that's really, really kind of changed my life. And when you try your best to do that and it doesn't land with everybody, like I watched this guy who's incredibly famous in his field and incredibly successful, in tears, because people were just being so unbelievably ungrateful and ungracious. And I looked at all these comments, and these people have paid this guy money. So this isn't random strangers on the internet. This is people that have already bought into his training and whatever. And he handled it so well. But I'm now looking at those people within the community that I'm in, and I'm thinking, I don't want to be with them. I don't want to, people that. So basically his response was, sorry, I started telling you this. His response was, you either choose to see the good in something or you choose to see the negative in something. And it's so true. Like, no matter what happens, everything doesn't always go exactly the way you would want it to, but you either choose to see the good. And his point was, he made it live because there were people there. There were people in Australia. Now, it wasn't quite as bad with the UK timeline, but there were people in Australia who were getting up at 1 a.m. and they were staying up until 9 a.m. in the morning, and they bought their notepad and they bought their pen and they took note after note after note after note. And then they made it work. And some of them were looking after kids. As the thing was ending, their kids were getting up or whatever. That's not ideal. But you don't have to do it. Like, this is a free thing. But those people that were prepared to do that are his people. They are the people that are going to be successful, because they're the people that chose to go, do you know what? Getting up at 1 a.m. and not sleeping for 3 nights is not ideal. But given this conference would probably cost, with travel, thousands of pounds to go to, and I'm getting an opportunity to go for free, I'm not going to moan about it. I'm not going to go, you haven't catered for the people in Australia. You can't have a worldwide audience and pick a time that suits every single person. There was even a post this morning from someone who was in Canada going, I actually didn't really like that it started at 11 because I'm ready for 9 and I had to kind of wait about for 2 hours for it to start. You're just like, oh my God, if you actually posted that in this group, like this free, amazing experience does not completely work to my timetable. And it just really made me think there wasn't a part of me, and I don't know whether maybe old Julie, like, I don't know, 20 years plus ago, might have felt like that as well. I don't know. I'm not sure. I've spent a lot of time working on attitude and gratitude, and being able to see the positive in things. But I just looked at it and I thought, I wasn't glad to see it happen. That's not the correct expression. But there was some form of kind of empathy to be able to see it happen into somebody else, because next week I've got my Find Your Perfect Side Hustle Idea Challenge, and it's a completely free event. But I do it so that people get to know me and get to know my coaching style and get to kind of understand what I teach. And then they can decide if they want to join one of my paid programs. But they don't have to. People come and they do the 5 days and they go away, and people come and they repeat the 5 days, and they're always super welcome. And a lot of people just take what they need away and they go away and they side hustle. And I love when they keep in touch and they're like, I've done it. I've done what we talked about. But sometimes, and I suspect at some point next week this will happen, sometimes we get somebody that's just not happy about whatever, about I don't know, sometimes we'll have tech issues, which, you know, it happens all the time. And people will say the videos are too long, the videos are too short, there's not enough worksheets, there's not enough time, you know, the replays aren't up for long enough. Honestly, when you have a service-based side hustle and you start to see people that lack gratitude, you realize that they're not for you. They're not your people. Like, but as much as you know they're not your people, and as much as I saw at the weekend that guy knew the people that were speaking like that and creating those threads were not his people, I still watched him crying, like, because he's still a person. And when you're putting all that energy into something, it's really tiring and it's actually really expensive. So what happens, one thing that regularly happens on the 5-day challenge week, which is on next week, is by about Thursday. So at the moment, the people that are going on that won't even know, mostly because they haven't, the advertising's just really started to kick in. But by about Thursday, someone usually goes, hey, I can't believe the week's nearly over. Let's start a completely separate group away from Julie and let's all support each other and let's all just maybe do it ourselves and kind of block Julie out of it. That basically happens nearly every time I think we've done it. And people aren't doing that to be sinister or difficult or whatever. They're doing it because they genuinely enjoy the connection. And they don't really realize that I've got a free group because I probably haven't talked about it enough at that point. But every time that happens, I could cry because I think, if you had any idea how much money and time and energy we spend finding the perfect people, connecting them, bringing them together, bringing them out their shell, boosting their confidence, for them to then go, oh, let's just go off and do it. Thanks very much. Let's go off and do it ourselves. Let's not go into the free community and do it where Julie can be part of it. Anyway, the point to this is, it's just got me thinking about next week because I saw what happened. The point to this is, be careful when you get irritated about things, because generally, whatever's irritating you hasn't been done on purpose. And how you show up in other people's business will really massively influence how people see you. So, you know, if you're in, so again, this is about product-based side hustles as well. If you're in Facebook groups, kind of commenting and helping people out and being really positive, then people are likely to want to make friends with you, send you friend requests, check out your profile, and hopefully your side hustle is there. So they can clearly click on a link and they'll probably want to support you. But the absolute opposite is true as well. If you're in Facebook groups or on the internet anywhere, joining in with negativity and just being ungrateful, people see that as well. Like I see, so in the hand stamp groups I'm in, I know that if I were to stop hand stamping today and wanted to buy from somebody else, well, first of all, I would buy from the people that are in the hive. But aside from that, assuming that I couldn't get what I wanted from anyone within the Happy Side Hustle community, I already know the people I would want to buy from and the people I wouldn't, from how they behave. So just be careful, because it's not, your behavior probably won't be purposeful and you won't think it's connected. But side hustle karma, business karma, is what goes around comes around. And if you're difficult, you have no reason to expect that your customers won't be difficult. So think carefully before you do anything other than a positive thing to any business owner. And when you do think like that, then you can expect your ideal customer to treat you like that. Okay. I'm going to go. Oh, that's really nice, Lorraine. Thank you. So anybody, my challenge is I'm in for the next one. Brilliant. Not because it doesn't work, because it's, oh, thanks, Tracy. Yes, entitlement culture, Mariam, that's exactly it. Yeah, everybody's welcome to come back next week. So sometimes people come back because, so I haven't done one for a while, actually. I normally do them every couple of months, but I haven't done one since April, maybe? April, May, June, July. I think it was maybe April. So I'm like totally, I'm really looking forward to it again. But I think if you've never been through my 5-day challenge to find your perfect side hustle idea, please join and come along next week, because it's so much fun. And I have spent so much time and money honing in exactly who my ideal customer is, which is, really important to do in your side hustle. I get people like you. So everybody that's listening and everybody that's taken the time to listen to me here, those are the types of people I attract, because I've spent a lot of time getting really clear on the type of people that I want. Therefore, I know there's a whole batch more. So there's about 250 people registered already, and it doesn't open. Well, we don't start until next Monday. I know that there's going to be another brilliant group of really heart-centered, supportive people who probably don't have a clue what their side hustle could be and might not have the confidence to get it out there, but that's what I can help with. If you want to change your side hustle idea, if you just want to come back for a burst of that energy. So sometimes you'll be in that week and you'll be like, yes, I'm going to do it. And you've got all that energy together. And then maybe something happens and life gets in the way and you don't quite get it launched, or you've launched it and you're not quite sure what to do yet, and you just kind of want to come back for the energy. You're totally welcome. One of my friends said to me at the weekend, actually, she did my very first challenge like a couple of years ago now. And she said to me, I've just registered for your challenge again. Is that okay? Of course it's okay. Of course it's okay. And if you know anybody else, right, here's the thing, right? Who doesn't know these people? If you know anybody else that would like to unleash a talent, so be it a creative, be it a product or a service or whatever it is, find something that brings them joy and monetize it and keep that money to one side to spend on luxuries, because it's extra money you didn't have before. If you know anybody that would fancy doing that for free next week in my free training, please share the link with them. I would be so grateful, because I would love more people like you. If you're listening to me, you're one of my people. I would love more people like you. So if you've got any like-minded friends that you think might enjoy the challenge next week, it's also really good to do something together with other people. So if you've got a local friend, or maybe your family or somebody that might enjoy it, then it's great to do it together, because then you've got somebody to kind of G on and keep you accountable. So if you wouldn't mind sharing the link for my 5-day challenge next week, that would be amazing. For those of you that are in the Hive, in 10 minutes exactly, the incredible Anne Lucas will be going live to help us discover our talents, which is very related to what we do next week. So I'm really looking forward to that myself. And then we've got Cassie at 8 o'clock. Oh, can't wait. So for those of you that are not in the Hive, I will should be back here on Thursday. And as I say, if you want to come back next week and just hang out with us and spend more time, you're so welcome to do so. I would love to see you again. But for those of you in the Hive, I am going to see you in 9 minutes. Okay, take care, everybody. Have a fantastic week, and I will speak to you soon. Bye.